In February, I went from narrative to math. Let's talk about what I got done this month. Alright, it's been another hour or so, and all I've managed to do really is create a series of issues and questions around what I'm trying to get out of this prototype. So I've added all that to GitHub issues. I've created a single milestone called playables just so I can try to filter stuff down a little bit as I kind of build up a backlog. And I've also created a project. So as I am dragging stuff across and completing some stuff, I can actually kind of track my progress. I'm a big fan of work visualization, and I'm actually going to add all of the questions as well, just so that I can see what I'm focusing on along here, just to make sure I know what I'm actually trying to do. So yeah, we should see some stuff come along here over time, or at least I will, because it's a private project, but it'll help me keep myself organized. So yeah, it's been progressive. I mean, this is a lot of planning for hopefully something this month, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so it's it's not March, it's February 24th, and I'm got the Monday off, and I'm working on the Handshake prototype. Now, this month I haven't done a lot of work on the coding so far. It's getting near the end of the month, but I have done a lot of work on thinking through the design problems I'm kind of hitting with writing dialogue and writing narrative. And this is something I drew out last, I guess on February 22nd in the middle of the night on my phone on OneNote. It's kind of messy, and I wanted to kind of walk through it for my own sake and, you know, something to explain for all y'all, because I'm going to work on dialogue today. I zoom out just a pinch. So what I drew here is just an XY axis, where the Y axis is kind of two different opposing types of response. So I can have a playful response versus a serious one. And on the X axis, we have a direct response versus an evasive one. And the idea here was to kind of map out the types of responses you can give. And ultimately, in each one of these corners, in our quadrants, you can see that I have a tone, a sarcastic tone, a relaxed tone, a reserved tone, and a bold tone. This kind of combines, you know, evasive and serious. Be quiet, be more reserved when you're responding. Playful and evasive, you'd be a little bit more relaxed. Because evasive, I'm not saying you're hiding something, but rather you're not answering, you're not providing a lot of content, but the content you do provide would likely be very to the point. So you might be, and if you're combine that with playful, you're probably a little bit more relaxed. You're just chill. You're not talking a lot. And then again, sarcastic is kind of a combination of playful and direct, and then direct and serious would be a little bit more of a bold tone or style. So this little chart here is a product of like a week's worth of thinking about dialogue and how I'm going to write narrative and dialogue inside of Handshake and the Handshake prototype. So that's the big plan. Now, what this is going to give me, hopefully, is constraint. So when I'm writing, the thing I was hitting was, as I wrote an introductory scene, and that was fine because it was a little bit more, it was a little bit more introductory, so it didn't really have any specific responses. It could be a bit fun. But now when I'm trying to write an actual gameplay scene, it was too open, because the way you can respond to something is massive. So I decided to constrain it, and this is my constraint that I've managed to create for myself. So I'm going to leverage this moving forward in my awesome dialogue prototype, hopefully. And I'll get back to you today. See, this helped me get unblocked, and because I'm hoping to work on this for a few hours today. And yeah, that's the big plan. So here we go. Alright, so it's been a couple of hours, and I did manage to get the first kind of rough draft of that script completed. I got distracted a few times, you know, I'm trying to avoid it, but did manage to get it done. And on top of that, by applying that graph that I talked about earlier, kind of the little XY coordinates graph, I've managed to find the way to apply some math to calculate success or failure of a conversation, which is the problem I've been trying to solve. I've been trying to go from like narrative idea, I guess, over here, and then mutate that into code and math in some capacity so I can represent it in a state. And I think I have that. I'm going to spend a little time doing some actual math, like with pen and paper. Where's my pen and paper? It's under my keyboard. But I'm going to spend some time doing that now because I want to kind of flesh it out manually rather than program it, to make sure that I actually have something here. So gonna get to that. Final thing before I end it for the day here on this. Realized that today, as I've been working through this stuff for the past week, these 4 issues that I had from Sell the Pen, the selling scenario that I'm trying to write, actually got captured. Even one of these one that I didn't think was going to be in scope, set an emotional tag to dialogue responses. That was that constraint that I've been working on because I just needed something to, I don't know, like tighten up my creativity a little bit. So if I look up the projects here and look at my prototype that I'm working through, see there's some good stuff coming along here. So I can actually move all this stuff over to in progress. And actually things are coming along quite nicely. I'm quite happy with how far I've gotten. Let's actually scroll down a little bit further. I can't scroll down that way apparently. I'm zoomed in too much. In any case, this is pretty awesome. I'm quite happy with the progress I made today, and I feel like the systems really make sense. So I really feel like I'm unblocked, which is awesome. And I'm going to keep on with this momentum this following week, and I'm going to really try to get this prototype out for the end of the month, beginning of March kind of thing, so that people can actually play it. So let's see what happens. So final report on that math solution where I went from narrative to math, and I was really proud of myself. That solution ended up being quite complicated. So I've simplified it. I'm not going to go into the details. I've tried to do it a few times, and I'm just getting bored of trying to explain it. But if you look over here, right, there you go. That's actually the solution. I should slide over. That's the solution that I came up with that's simplified. I can give myself personality, or give the NPCs some personality, rather, and the NPC can now either like or dislike the player, and I can calculate how much they like them and how much they dislike them, and I can kind of start playing around with these weights of your conversation, your tone, and your style, and how that impacts NPCs. So that's really cool. I'm really happy with that. And I went from narrative to math, and I think it should work this time. So yeah, we'll see. And with that, I'm going to call it. I'm going to wrap this up and do the editing and everything on this devlog for February. Ultimately, I'm very happy with my progress. I wish I had something playable, but you know what? I went from narrative game design, writing some narrative, and then translating that into a system, my first real system for narrative scoring and interaction. So I can start building personalities and start building, or designing rather, NPCs and how they'll react to the player's style and how they want to answer. And then I can kind of start building with that. So yeah, that's really cool. So going from narrative to math, from math to narrative, that is awesome, being able to go that two-way street. So for March, the plan is to start getting a little bit more involved in something code related. So now that I have my design and my system, I'm going to try to build a playable prototype and hopefully get that out to you all at the end of March via HIO or something like that. And we'll start to play around with this idea, and I'll get it in front of people and see if I can make it fun for myself first, and then see if I can get some other players to give it a test and see what they think, if I can get all the pieces together. But I don't really know what's involved with that. I've never actually gotten a playable prototype done with a timeline other than that game jam thing, which I missed a lot of pieces. So we'll see what this kind of turns into. My goal is a prototype, but we'll see how March ends up. So who knows? In any case, thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a pleasant day or evening, and I'll see you next time.